Welcome to Beyond Overeating by Wholesome Lifestyle Project, the Overeating Podcast, where I'll be showing up weekly to share with you what I've learned during my binge eating recovery, helpful tools such as yoga, mindfulness, and energy medicine. My name is Stell, and my purpose is to inform and educate so that you can fast track your recovery in healing your relationship with food and finally trust yourself around the peanut butter jar. Join me as I share top tips, my struggles and triumphs to help inspire or just entertain. Remember, there's nothing wrong with you if you can't stop overeating. That's why I'm here to guide you along the way. Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond Overeating Podcast by Wholesome Lifestyle Project. My name is Stell Coombe-Heath, your host, binge and emotional eating recovery specialist, and I'm super excited to be back into routine. And if you might have noticed, there has been a small break between episodes, and that's because I took some time off for my birthday and we were on a beautiful trip. So I hope that you guys enjoyed your Easter, because I most certainly did. I ended up having my birthday right before Easter, and I got to spend Easter with my family in New South Wales. So that was just really, really super special. And I really enjoyed indulging in the Easter treats. And this is where I've noticed that a lot of people just really struggle with Easter in particular, because, Christmas is usually about gifts, but Easter is all about the food, right? It's all about your chocolates, minimum, your usual Easter treats that come along, like your hot cross buns, all those kind of things. And for some reason, this really gets people in recovery or people who are not knowing where to start with recovery. This gets them really, really tangled into a lot of food guilt and a lot of shame, and it just really starts building up that binge guilt cycle that we are so used to hearing, or that I talk about so often. So I love chocolates, and I most certainly enjoyed indulging in Easter treats this year. And if I reflect back on my recovery a few years ago, I would have eaten all the Easter treats. I might have enjoyed it for like the first 5 minutes, and then I would have binged on them, knowing that tomorrow I need to be healthy. And many women I've seen in the last couple of days reaching out or just chatting on social media have said how they've just struggled so much with the guilty conscience after indulging in some Easter treats. So today's episode is really just about talking about food guilt and the food guilt we often experience over Easter. And for many women, food and guilt are inseparable. We think of different foods as good or bad. If we have a dessert, we're having a little treat, or we're being naughty, we're indulging in a guilty pleasure. So it's no wonder then when we eat the Easter chocolates, and it might be a little bit more than what we normally eat, that all of a sudden we just feel extremely guilty because of the language we have around food and how we describe food. So here's some of the things that I would say, especially after Easter. And it goes something like this, and I'm sure you can relate in some way or form. Tomorrow, I'm only eating clean foods to make up for Easter. And what would happen after that statement is I would go around having like a 100 to 200 calorie meal replacement shake, berries and nuts, salad for lunch, and then run 10 kilometers. And then all of a sudden I was back binge eating the leftover Easter chocolate, and I couldn't understand why, because I've done all the things to put them away, to hide them from myself, and still here I am back on the binge cycle. And it's because the guilt that we add to food and indulging foods that actually gives us that sense of feeling so uncomfortable in our bodies that we inevitably binge again. So it turns out that ditching guilt, especially food guilt, is actually good for you and good for your health. And there's some studies that have actually shown that self-criticism that follows after a guilt, like what is wrong with me? Why did I eat that chocolate? Why do I have no self-control? Is associated with less motivation and worse self-control. So guilt after eating leads to more uncomfortable feelings. And what happens when we feel uncomfortable? We're going to tend to look for food, for comfort, and that just starts the binge guilt cycle that I always talk about. So let me explain how this works in terms of just, how the binge guilt cycle shows up. And you may or may not have known this, but these are the type of thought processes that run in the back of our mind, in our brains, which kind of run on autopilot for a lot of people, and for me as well. This was like an automatic pattern running in my mind and in my food zombie brain for many, many years. So say, for example, you've ever indulged in the Easter treats, immediately guilt sets in. And the guilt that you would probably hear, the self-talk or the self-thoughts that you might be thinking, is along the lines of, why can't I just stop eating? What is wrong with me? Why do I keep damaging my body like this? I don't deserve to be happy because I don't even want to eat healthy. I will have to hide the packets so that no one sees what I've done. I better go for an additional 5-kilometer run to make up for this tomorrow. Well, that was usually my automatic thought pattern. It was really so much a part of the guilt. Other guilt thoughts is, I just can't control myself around food. And the last one is, and such a big one for me all the time, is, I told you you were not good enough. I told you you were not strong enough. I told you that you are a failure. Can't even keep it together at Easter time. Let me know if this is something that you can relate to. So once we have this guilt cycle running in our minds, and all these thoughts, in the cognitive world, we talk about negative automatic thinking, and this is these kind of patterns that run in our mind, and our food zombie mind knows if it keeps thinking these thoughts, it's eventually going to get to the treat, which is the end result, which is the binge. So next, what happens is, all of a sudden, these thoughts reflect back out at us, and we start feeling unhappy with our bodies and with ourselves. And then the thoughts change to, I'd be happier with myself if I just lose that extra 5 kilos. I hate my hips. They are so repulsive. I wish I could just control myself around food. Or there's just something wrong with me. Look at my belly, look at my thighs, look at my cellulites, you name it. That is the next kind of thing that triggers after the guilt. All of a sudden, the guilt is just too unbearable. And then all we can see is the flaws, and that creates just such an unhappiness in ourselves. And this is when we now want to, instead of leaning back and understanding where that unhappiness comes from, we want to fix straight away. And the obvious fix here is that we need to diet or restrict. And this the thought patterns that then go in on our minds, like I mentioned earlier, is, this new cleanse is going to change my life. I'm only going to eat clean after Easter. Some people tend to go to certain diets, so it's paleo must be the answer, carbs are the enemy. I'm addicted to sugar, I just need to follow the I Quit Sugar plan. I'm going to the gym for 2 hours today because that will surely shift the number on the scales. The last thought is, I'm going for, this is again maybe just me, but you'll notice that I was like completely abusing running back in the day, but one of the things that I used to say is, I'm going for a second run today to burn off that glass of wine I had last night, or that extra chocolate that I had. So the minute we get into that dieting and restriction mindsets, that is when the body feels deprived. That is when our food zombie brain knows it's so much closer to that binge, because all of a sudden the body's hungry, we have less willpower, we have our survival instinct is on full force to just eat and eat as much as we can the minute we do eat. And this is when we, I like to call it face plant into a bag of chips or chocolates or whatever your poison is. And with the same little words in your mind, I will be good again tomorrow. And it might be something like, I've already effed up my day today. I might as well make the most of this. Let's grab the tub of ice cream or the bag of sweets, or let me just finish off all the Easter treats in the cupboard so I'm not tempted tomorrow. Another one is, well, I deserve a treat. It's been such a long day. I've been so good. I've gone for that 2-hour workout session. I need that binge. So as you can see, this cycle continues and continues and continues, and we keep trying to fix it with dieting, and we keep trying to fix it with unhelpful words such as good food, bad foods. I'm having a treat, I'm being I'm having a sneaky treat, or whatever the case is. All that just feeds back into this big binge guilt cycle. So in order for us to break the cycle of feeling guilty after eating an extra little bit of Easter chocolates all the way into a binge, is we need to break the guilt associated with food. And I will be talking about this a lot more in some future episodes, but I thought I'd give you just 1 or 2 little things that you can start working on today that's going to really help you move forward, especially when it comes to the guilt. So first things first is pay attention to your language when it comes to food. And I'd love for you to actually remove any prefixes that sound like the following: treat, cheat, naughty, good, bad. I would love for you to notice how often you are using those prefixes and just taking them off, removing them, and notice how you actually, how those feelings when you say I'm having a treat, when I'm having that cheat meal, how the body actually reacts to those words. And you'll find that you immediately want to hide, you immediately want to sneak more. So starting to readjust your language around that is really going to help you in such a big way. And I needed to really adjust my thought patterns and my language around food and my descriptions when I was recovering, because of the food bias that I've created. And that's another episode that I will share in the next couple of weeks. But the next one is eat the damn chocolates. Because if you deprive yourself, and everyone's eating the Easter eggs and they're all indulging and having their best time, and you are depriving yourself, you are putting yourself back into that bad or good list. And what that does is that creates deprivation. When you feel deprived, unfortunately, you are going to overindulge when you do get to eat a little bit of Easter chocolates or Easter eggs or whatever your poison is over Easter. And the key here is permission. Give yourself permission to eat it. Often we're like, oh, I'm being so naughty. I'm just going to sneak a little piece here. And that is not permission. That is saying that what you are doing is wrong. And when we put permission, if we say that we are doing something wrong when we eat, then the food zombie brain just goes crazy and it goes, right, well, you know what happens when I do actually get my hand on any of those treats? I'm just going to have to go crazy because I know that this is actually not allowed. So next, what you would, now that we are eating the chocolate and we've removed the prefixes around the foods, just notice how fast or how slow you are eating your Easter indulgence, and this can apply at any time. So this does not just have to be for Easter. But in the next couple of days, just notice when you do have some of that leftover chocolates, or just a random bar of chocolate for that matter. Notice your pace of eating. And can you slow that down and enjoy every single bite? And when we do that, again, that's physically signals to the brain that I have full permission to eat this. I don't have to sneak this. So it forms the habit of, yeah, it's okay to eat the chocolate. And that is what we want to instill in the mind, is that, having that balance, having the chocolate it's okay. There's no need to make up for it. There's no need to go crazy the next day with extra exercise or not eating the next day. Eating food is 100% okay. And the more we allow our minds to understand that, the more we will quieten down the food urges. The last little tip is, if you have overindulged the last couple of days, and if you indulge at any time, and this is going to happen, we're not always going to be 100% perfect or eat 100% healthy the way we want to or the way we planned. And that's all okay. When you get to a space when this has happened for you, make sure to forgive yourself. It's only a little extra chocolates, and it's not the end of the world. Now, if you have said that to me in my diet mindset, my black and white perfectionist mindset, I would have told you, well, it is, because it's going to add weight to the scale. And I do understand that is just a different mindset we need to get in. But forgiveness is one of the biggest things you can do. And that's going to actually release some of that guilt that you have associated with food and associated with indulging. And once we do that, we can start breaking that binge guilt cycle that's automatically running in your mind. So I hope that these little things will give you just a little bit of guidance on how to treat any holiday, especially the food driven holidays, as well as any day of overindulgence, or any times where we might be eating a little bit more or a little bit different foods than what we would normally do. I am excited to delve deeper into these concepts in the next couple of weeks, especially with the food labeling. So I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Before I go, this week is still my birthday week, and I am running a small little competition on Instagram. I will post the link for the competition in the show notes if you would like to enter. I am giving away a month of free coaching. So go and apply for that. You'll see it's pretty easy to enter. All you have to do is post a little unicorn in the comments, and you have till Friday to do that. So another 2 days to go and enter that competition. Keep an eye out for some really exciting things coming to the podcast, as well as to Wholesome Lifestyle Project. There's 2 very exciting programs that I have been working on, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. So keep tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and don't forget to share this with all your friends. You can do this by adding this to your Instagram story and tagging me at Wholesome Lifestyle Project, or by simply telling them about it. If you could rate and review on whatever platform you are listening, this will go a long way in helping me get this podcast out there so that I can share my message and help as many women out there struggling with food issues as I can. Don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram on Wholesome Lifestyle Project or connect with me on LinkedIn. My name's Coombe-Heath, and that's where you'll find me on LinkedIn. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.